it went from this to this. Oh my. Hello, this is Ken. I like making things. I like making things out of paper, and I like making things cooler. Especially my figures. Sometimes figures don't look all that screen accurate. All they need is a bit of touch up here and there to unleash their hidden potential. I also love using everyday tools and materials to recreate iconic scenes from my figures, so they can shine on my display. Subscribe to my channel and join my DIY adventure as I ask myself the same question every week. Can I make it? Last week, I worked on the Tobey Spider-Man figure and made him less bright, so I could recreate the Spider-Man pointing meme. Check it out if you're interested. Today, I'm going to stand. No. This Venom figure's hip joints are very loose. He can barely stand on his own. But I want to give this figure a second chance. So let me see if I can tighten the joints. Some of you mentioned that floor polish would work, but I don't have any. So I'm going to test and see if I can use what I have first. I'm going to dab a bit of matte varnish at the joints and move the legs around to work the varnish into the joints. I'm also going to add a bit of varnish to the ankle joints too. I hope this works. Alright, the varnish has dried. It's better, but I kinda feel like it would lose its tightness if I start posing the legs. Anyway, I found this Venom figure at my local comic store. It's pretty banged up, but I think there's a bit of potential here. Let's deconstruct this figure. There's an FAQ on the paint and brushes I use in the description box below. Overall, this design of Venom isn't the best. The web lines are a bit much, but it's consistent with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man design. The overall silhouette of the figure is pretty good. Massive shoulders, strong arms, and that classic Venom tongue. Despite the great physique, I do find this figure a bit harder to pose, probably due to the engineering. The worst part of the movie design has gotta be the head. There's just something off about the jaw. I can tell this figure was played with quite extensively. The paint on the face is pretty beat up. He probably lost a ton of battles against the heroes. He's also missing a thumb. Lots of battle scars on this figure. I want to see if I can give this figure a second chance to shine. And this will be the perfect figure to display with my Tobey Spider-Man figure. So, can I make it? Before I fix the missing thumb, I want to see if I can get the right texture. Unlike the other Venom designs, Sam Raimi's Venom is more metallic than slimy. So instead of using glossy varnish to achieve that shiny look, I'm going to mix in a bit of silver to get that metallic sheen. Okay, it's hard to tell on camera, but I like the finish. It's slightly different from the plastic shine. It doesn't look oily. Let me apply it all over the figure. I'm going to try and avoid painting over the symbiote symbols. I like the gray they used, even though some of the gray paint has been rubbed off. I'll fix that later. Gotta cover up the base figure first. Okay, time to give Venom his thumb back. And I'm gonna do that with epoxy putty. Mix part A with part B and sculpt and shape it like any other clay. Good enough. That doesn't look too bad, right? Now I want to fix some of the other fingers as well, to sharpen them a bit. I added a bit of putty to the index fingers too. Now I just need to wait for it to cure. Be right back. Oh, speaking of fixing hands, I recently fixed the broken wrist joint on my Wanda figure. I thought I had to superglue the hand onto the arm, or use a hand that doesn't match. But I managed to get her back to 100%. Check that out if you're interested. Okay, there was a bit of putty left and I didn't want it to go to waste, so I added some teeth too. Venom just isn't Venom without those creepy sharp teeth. Alright, the next thing I gotta fix are those eyes. The eyes are barely there anymore, so I'm gonna redefine them with silver paint. The other issue with the eyes is that I find them a bit too small. I want them to be bigger, but the eyes are sculpted in, so I can only expand them a little bit. I want to test something. Let's see if I can make the eyes look a bit more dimensional by adding a bit of this iridescent paint. And since this paint is a bit thicker, I want to see if I can smooth out the right eye too. It's a bit bumpy. Not sure if that did anything. Okay, I think the putty is all cured and ready to go. So let me quickly paint over them. On to the symbiote symbols. I'm gonna paint a thin layer of silver over them to make them pop. This is probably my favorite design element of this Venom. As cool as Tom Hardy's Venom is, it just doesn't look right without the symbol. It almost feels weird painting the symbols on this figure because I'm so used to not seeing them on movie Venom. Now all there's left is the mouth. I like the pink they used, but I prefer a deeper, more saturated red. Red and black always make a great combo, so I'm going to paint over all the fleshy parts with red. Can't forget the gum line. Alright, next. I'm going to add a bit of shading to add a bit more definition to these fleshy parts. It'll also make the mouth appear more grotesque. Next, I'm going to paint over the teeth with this pale yellowish tan color. I don't think Venom brushes or whiten his teeth. The tongue looks a bit flat. Let me add a bit of pink highlight to give it more dimension. And a bit on the gum too. And to finish it off, I'm going to add a bit of glossy varnish over the web lines. I don't know if this is going to work, but I want to see if I can add more texture to the suit. There's the metallic base layer, and then there are these slimy web lines over it, and at the very top, the silver symbiote symbol. So I end up with 3 different kinds of texture. It may end up not noticeable at all, but at least I know it's not just the same texture over the entire figure. I'm also going to add the varnish over the entire mouth, especially the tongue. It needs to look all slimy, wet, and gross. Remember how I tried to fix the loose joint with varnish earlier? The effect kinda wore off already. So I went and got myself this floor luster from the brand Quick Shine. I couldn't find Pledge floor polish like some of you suggested. And according to this video I watched, I believe this specific one works too. So let me see. It says I should wait 24 hours. So I'll be right back. Alright, here's the finished figure. The floor polish trick worked. The joints are much stiffer. I'm not certain if it will last, but it is definitely better than using varnish. But back to the figure. I love how this figure looks now. It looks very Venom-like, if you get what I mean. I grew up watching the animated series, and this kinda looks like that version but in movie form. I love the new face. Those eyes, tongue, and teeth desperately needed a makeover. And the metallic symbiote symbol is so gorgeous. What do you think? Do you like what I've done? Let me know down below. Oh, you know what? I kinda forgot some of the fingers were added in with epoxy putty. They blended in seamlessly with the hands. Nice. In a way, this figure kinda has this modern look to it. He doesn't look that outdated, even though this figure is from the early 2000s. Okay, the web lines look a bit dated, and the head doesn't look all that great. But I have to say, I love the shape of those eyes, especially the little hooks near the center of the face. And those teeth definitely made the face 20 times better. I also love how bulky this figure looks. And best of all, it scales really nicely against the Marvel Legends of today. Look at this pair. They look so good together. I wouldn't be able to tell they're from different generations at a glance. I'm so glad I picked up this Venom figure. Alright, Photoshoot time. I feel like I captured Sam Raimi's Venom look quite well, where it's still shiny but not in a glossy way. This figure looks so good in photos. I wasn't expecting much when I got the figure because of the condition the figure was in, but maybe because the figure was already in such bad shape, there wasn't that much pressure when I was working on it. It didn't feel like I was ruining the figure, which is a feeling I sometimes get when I'm working on a brand new figure. Speaking of brand new figures, it is interesting to see how the engineering of the joints have changed over the years. This figure has pretty decent range of motion, but I find that sometimes the poses don't look all that natural. Like I can't seem to pull off dynamic or dramatic poses convincingly like the other Venom figures. Maybe it has to do with the loose hip joints too. Even though the floor polish helped tremendously, I'm still being pretty careful with the legs. Other than that, this figure just has this presence to him. It's especially cool posing him with Tobey's Spider-Man. Spider-Man 3 may not be the best Spider-Man movie, but you can't deny that these two are an iconic duo. Alright, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I had so much fun fixing up this Venom figure. Give this video a thumbs up. Don't make me do it with epoxy putty. Subscribe to my channel because I'm almost ready to build my No Way Home display. I can picture it in my head. I just gotta make it happen. As always, stay inspired and I'll see you next week. I can make it, so can you.